Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm back with another project for the Zendala Wednesday series, and today is project number 4, and for the first time ever in this series I'm using a tan tile. Now, the string that I have used for today's project is a string that I've actually purchased from an Etsy shop. So, I'm going to link the seller in the description box. And in case you're interested in checking out the templates that the seller sells, you can reach out to them directly. In all honesty, this video is not sponsored by the seller, but I did find the work and the templates offered by the Etsy shop seller to be very interesting, and I think it's worth a recommendation. And you should totally check it out if you're someone who is always looking for good templates and strings for your Zendala and Zentangle and Mandala projects. So yeah, so I'm going to put that in the description box. Now, coming to the project that we are going to be working on, so it's a tan tile, and the tangles that I'm going to be using today are going to be fairly simple, but I do want to make the tile a little more festive and more joyful than my usual projects. So I'm going to go with a warm look for the project today, and colors like oranges, reds and browns usually work very well with a tan base. So that's the idea that I'm going with today. Now, the first angle that I'm working on is called Chaba or Chaba. I'm not 100% sure what the pronunciation for this tangle is, but it's a beautiful tangle that I found online from a CZT based in Hong Kong, and the name of the CZT is Bing Chan. And I found the tangle to be very interesting, and it has this beautiful combination of little orbs and circular lines, and curvy lines basically. So I found the tangle to be very interesting, and today I'm actually using it in a ribbon format over here. So I'm of course leaving a little bit of space empty in the middle, as you can see, for adding a little bit of a sparkle effect, which will get accentuated once I bring in the white pen later on. But there are of course many other ways in which you can embellish this tangle. So that's what I'm doing over here in this particular section. Now, moving on, I don't want to use the string in a very rigid format. And in fact, if you've seen all of my projects up until now, you know that I'm someone who likes to cross over the borders when it comes to strings. And I basically tend to ignore the rigidity of these lines, and I just like work around them and basically diffuse or sort of put those lines in the background, and I don't really restrict myself with the strings. So that's exactly what I'm doing for today's project as well. I am ignoring these three curved lines as rigid lines. Instead, I'm converting them into large Mookas. Now, Mooka is one of my most favorite go-to tangles, and for a long time I had been using Mooka as a signature tangle in most of my artworks. But then there was a phase in my life where I realized that I'm using a lot of Mooka in all of my projects, and so I took a break and I stopped using this tangle on some of my recent projects. But today I just felt like using it once again, and these curves in the string actually lend themselves very beautifully to the structure of the tangle Mooka, and so that's what I'm doing over here right now. I also wanted to include a little bit of a layering and transcending effect, and so I decided to add some of these tiny mookas, pretty much like stems or veins, or very botanical leaf inspired sort of pattern in the background, which almost reminds me of these beautiful high fashion botanical prints and surface pattern designs that you see in high fashion brands on textiles. So just using that kind of an effect in the background over here, and just adding a pop of color as well as I go along. Now, with that done, I wanted to add a little bit of Printemps on the side over here in this particular section. And Printemps is again a very beautiful and versatile tangle. Even though it has a very basic simple spiral structure, it can be used in many different ways, and today I'm using a sort of 3D version where I'm just adding a little bit of line weight on one of the sides of the curve, and one of the areas of the curve, and then it just basically creates this three-dimensional look. Next up in this little section, I'm going to be adding again a little element inspired by the ribbon tangle that I've used in today's project, which is Chaba or Chaba. And not exactly using it in terms of repetitive, not exactly using it in terms of the repetition of the circular elements, but just adding a little orb in the center and then creating auras around it. So again, it's a fairly versatile tangle, like I said, and so since this section is really, really small, I'm just adding an orb and just adding auras around it. Then I'm going to add a few lines over here. Line work is very, very relaxing, and it definitely helps to create a lot of interest in your drawings. And if you can't really come up with any new tangles or any new design ideas to fill up small sections in your drawings, then lines always come to your rescue. So that's what I'm doing over here today, just filling up some lines and just creating some interest. Alright, now time to add some white and gold details. I am always in favor of using gold on tan tiles because I feel the overall warm palette really pops nicely with the use of gold. And I particularly love using this gold from Uniball, and it's a beautiful gold color to work with, and it's a lovely smooth pen. So I love working with this, and so just adding some white and gold details on random sections of the tile. And these kinds of things are of course very subjective. If you're someone who likes to have non-blingy, muted, very earthy colors, and if you're someone who likes to not have that bling and shine on your artworks, then you can definitely stop at an earlier stage and you don't have to add these details. But I for one like to have a very festive, joyful look on almost all of my Zendala tiles, and so I like to add these little accents of gold or silver or metallic chrome like elements on almost all my tiles. So that's what I'm doing over here today, which also, by the way, reminds me that this week I'm actually celebrating crossing 50 students on my latest class on Skillshare, which is on gemstones. Again, color pencil gemstones is something that you can use to accentuate and really brighten up the look of your compositions. So if this is something that interests you, you should totally check out this class on Skillshare, and I'm going to link that in the description box. And apart from this particular class, I have like a bunch of other classes on Zentangle in-depth knowledge on Skillshare. So if you're someone who's trying to build up a good drawing practice, you should check out all of those classes. And apart from that, I also have like painting classes and journaling classes on Skillshare. So all of these classes actually come under one membership. Once you become a Skillshare member, you get the access for as long as your membership is active to all the classes that not only I am teaching, but also thousands of other teachers on Skillshare are teaching. So one membership basically gives you an access to all the classes in their catalog. So so I'm going to link that in the description box. If that's something that interests you, do check it out. All right, and it looks like we have finished adding all the details over here today. And if you like this particular project, don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button so that you can be notified about all the other videos that I'm going to be posting on my channel. And if you end up recreating this project or are inspired by it and create something of your own, then please do tag me at TheColorBirdie on all social media channels, and I'd love to check out your work. So that's it for today's project, and I'm going to see you very, very soon with another video. Till then, keep creating.